What is up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. This is The Collector, and I am here for the collector side doing a on-the-spot Toy Fair action figure review. Now, I have been dying to get my hands on these figures, and so I just happened to walk by the booth here at Diamond Select Toys, and Diamond Comics rather, and I see Beast Kingdom's display here of 8-inch dynamic action, real action heroes. Now, I have been dying to get my hands on one of these, so here we go. I'm gonna just pick one up and let's check it out because I've seen pictures of this. I've never seen it in person, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it. So we'll check it out. I'm gonna flip the camera. All right now, so I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed. Let's see. All right, first I'm gonna remove the figure. Here's the packaging for the figure, and we are going to check it out. All right. Okay. The box is pretty nice. And what I like about the box here is there's not a lot of wasted space. What you see is what you get. Orientation is annoying. So now I don't know why it's having me do this in landscape, but whatever. What you see is what you get. Decent packaging. Not bad. All in all, it's pretty good. Now, one thing also that's not bad is the price point for a figure this size, because this figure is pretty large. He's about a little over 8 inches tall, I would say, almost 9 inches tall, and he is pretty beefy. And it's going to get a little close-up of some of the accessories. Now, the rest of the accessories are in the box, so I can't get those out, but just want to get in close. This is the Tactical Suit Batman. He's got a posable fabric cape, which looks pretty good. And forgive the funky angles, it's just that I can't get this out of portrait mode. But feels really solid. Really nice to pose. Got some good range of motion. Really nice range of motion, actually. See some of those joints in there. Now, those are really small, so I'm not sure how those would hold up. As far as some other things that I've seen, the joints are really... that little ball and socket joint for the size of the figure seems a little small to me. But whatever, that's how they've chosen to do their construction. I would have chosen to do it a little differently. Now, it does move back, and this is pretty amazing. This is probably the first time you'll ever see a one-handed action figure review, with one hand holding my phone and the other hand messing with the figure. Decent ab crunch, not bad. All right, now the torso here, it seems to give you some pivot. Got a little bit of pivoting. Doot. All right, very cool. Okay, and I'm going to take a little closer look in here. We've got a nice, interesting joint construction system for the legs. We've got a ball and socket joint on the inside there. Again, really small ball and socket for the size of the figure. I feel like that on smaller figures, on regular 6-scale figures, on 6-inch figures, and on the 12th scale figures, those ball and socket joints are about the same size. So I feel like that those might not be as durable, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't have any in my collection to hold up and say, hey, you know, they're lasting for however many years. We've got fabric posable cape here, which is nicely done. The material's very nice, and they seem to have a little bit of weathering on it. You see like some of the brown wash. It's pretty good. I like that the wired cape here, and I'm going to just hold on a second. There we go. Got that. So, not bad. Spread it out there. So, pretty nice. Now let's get into some of the articulation in the legs. So see, now this is really difficult, so bear with me. I'm gonna hold my little poppet thingamajig. There we are. Okay, ta-da, there we go. All right, so there we have it, legs. See, now that's one thing that kind of bothers me. So because of the way the pelvis is constructed, as you can see, it's got this really big V. There, it should be cut a little higher, and what that does is it inhibits motion for the upper thigh. That's about as far up as it goes, which isn't bad, but it's a little goofy looking and a little bulky looking to me, and I'm not a fan of that. But otherwise, you know, that's just being a little nitpicky. You know, he does pose really nicely. He does have great ankle pivot. Nice range of motion for the most part, even though the joints seem a little flimsy. The cowl. Interesting. You see, there's a... he's got the sculpted cowl, which I really like. I like that they did that, because then the cape moves with him. That actually is probably one of the best decisions for a Batman figure I've seen. And so maybe the figure's okay itself, but I love the fact that on this particular figure, what they did was they attached the cape to the cowl and made the whole piece rotate and move, so that you don't lose cape, so that it doesn't pop out of the seam or it doesn't fall off or whatever. Like, that's a really nice decision that they made. I really like how they did that. And got nice range of motion. Arms here. We've got upper bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows, ball and socket joint for wrists. Got those. There's like a little ball joint for the wrist peg. No, it's hard to tell if it's a wrist peg or if it's a ball and socket joint. See, but double jointed knees. Really nice range of motion overall. So I'm really digging this figure. I gotta say, it's a little. It's one of the better looking ones. Like Cyborg over here doesn't really look like Cyborg that much from the movie. Flash doesn't really look like Ezra Miller, but Gal Gadot looks pretty good. The likeness is pretty good, but the Flash is really beefy, and I'm not a fan of how beefy it is, because if you look at it, he's pretty much almost as beefy as Batman, and Flash is a smaller scale character, so that kind of bugs me a little bit. But overall, it's not bad. The base comes with a really nice base and a really nice stand. If you look at this stand, it's actually a nicely made stand. I'm impressed with the ability for it to move around. It's very nicely done. And I can imagine, like, if I can hook this figure up properly, that, you know, it would look really good. So I'm just gonna put this down for a second, flip the camera around so you guys can see. Haha, what's up? All right, I don't know why I didn't think of doing that before, but here we have your Batman. Now, see, just a little bit of movement and the ball and socket, the leg popped off. So that's really not a cool thing for me, because I, again, feel like the ball and socket joint is really small. It doesn't allow for a lot of range of motion. And what it does is there's a groove cut out into the inner thigh here, so that, if you can see, there's a little space here, and it kind of is like a beveled cut in the leg. And if you can kind of see that, it doesn't do anything, because the pelvis inhibits the leg, and it makes it so that you can't bring it straight up, and that's kind of that's a bit of a disappointing feature. But the cape, really nicely done. Probably the best part about it is the cape. One of the best fabric posable capes that I've seen so far. So you can kind of see, pretty nice. So I'm going to just do a quick pose for this bad boy. All right, so the socket is on a little bit of a butterfly, which is nice. Batfleck actually looks really good. I'm gonna do this pose, it just popped into my head. Twist that way. Up like this. Push this back up. Now, you can see the foot popped off, so the joints seem to be really easy to release from where they're supposed to be. So like I'm losing limbs here. It's not bad, but it's not a tight fit. Let's see if I can get him on the stand. All right, let's see how that looks. Flip it over. Whoop. And he fell over. But let's see. Hold on a second. Not bad. So I'm really glad that I actually got a sample of this, to mess around with. See the cape? Not bad. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to put these little tabs back. Flash, Batman. And I'm going to leave this for everybody to see. How about that? The collector has been here. All right, take care, guys.